everyone. It's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi, and as always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Topsy Tops. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
The nails. I didn't notice that yesterday.
Yes. Yeah. No. I just did it yesterday.
It looks beautiful.
It's the... this morning I woke up reviewing the first quarter of 2021. It was a very, very reflective, deep moment, and I'm very grateful to God. 2021 is when they say you pivot. I did a major pivot into real estate industry, and I just had to go on Instagram, thank everybody for their support so far, declared my dreams to life for the remaining of the year, and I just feel that many people are scared of saying what they want because they're scared people will shame them for jumping around, or shame them for changing their mind, or shame them for dreaming, or shame them for wanting, or shame them for saying. Please, don't care about them. I watched a video on Instagram just a few seconds yesterday, and it was a very short video. He said that the average person, you must be humble about how important you are, because if you die, maximum of 12 hours they will use to mourn you online, and that's all. Candle, they will lit the candle for 12 hours, and then everybody moves on with their life. So focus on your life and push your dreams forward, impact as many people as possible, and stop focusing on them. So
fantastic, good.
First quarter reflection.
That's
Welcome.
Nice. How you doing, Maria?
I'm fine. You know, I took the vaccine last week, and I think it's only fair that I let people know if I've had any symptoms, any side effects, if anything. So the day after, that was last week, Friday, the only thing I noticed was that my right leg, I noticed that by the time I got home, was swollen. And I panicked. I was like, okay, we heard that there will be all sorts of side effects. There's what they call a blood clot and everything. I panicked. I called my husband. I was like, get to the island right now. Let's go see a doctor. So on my way there, I put my leg up on the headrest. By the time I got to Victoria Island from Surulere, it had gone down, and I was feeling fine. But then I started taking paracetamol, and I haven't had any other effects since then. So I don't know if it had to do with the vaccine, because also on the day, because we're doing this squats challenge on Lifestyle with ML, I'd done 200, or I tried to do, tried to do 250 squats on the day, did my skipping, and I did my skipping without my shoes. I was trying to remember my taekwondo days, so that could have been the reason. I just wanted to give people feedback, because a lot of people
Let me also give feedback. I did mine on Monday. Nothing happened to me.
Okay.
But my husband was a different story.
What happened?
It's all throughout yesterday. It's like, Morayo, mi wa okay. Mi wa okay. Talo ni kinga the vaccine. I mean, he was so scared because he had fever.
Oh.
And he had a bit of shaking. And we tried to, I told him to use paracetamol.
Yes.
You know, he used it in the morning. By the time I came back in the evening, I saw him. He was acting like everything was normal. Yeah. But towards the evening, he's like, Morayo, I'm not okay, say. I think it's psychological.
Sometimes,
I think it's your mind.
Yeah.
I assume something will happen. But this morning, he's up and moving. After 3 days, if you feel like this, then we'll carry you to Lagos State government.
Because I have a couple of friends who had fever and stuff.
Some had that kind of flush. That's heat flush.
I just feel like I had headache, I had headache, but I didn't use paracetamol. I just realized that everybody kept saying use paracetamol, and I didn't use at all. Then there's a bit of heaviness on that
same
spot, but that's all. I feel there's something there, but
so there you have it. Nothing has happened.
Yeah.
He's fine today. This morning,
well, good.
I'm 100%. I was like, yesterday, I
think it's just this year.
Capacity. I think we stop traumatizing this. I am only, but this morning I am 100%.
Okay, we're happy.
All right, let's go on a break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Right, we'll start with the nation. Presidency findings on Boko Haram sponsors shocking. Tinubu, I meant hiring of 50,000, not 50 million into security agencies. Picture here, Buhari arriving in the United Kingdom. No power transfer as Buhari begins medical vacation. Nexim's $50 million for agro export. Motorcycles, donkeys bring in arms, says Ali. Doctors list conditions to shelve the strike, and Lagos raises panel on LASU VC. Okay, which story are we taking here?
I have to jump at the Nexim Bank.
Yes, go ahead.
Nexim actually is Nigerian Exports Imports Bank. The managing director commemorating March 8th had said that there will be $50 million for agro exports. This is for women and youth to benefit from it. It was to encourage. The fund is used to give technical assistance to bankable small and medium enterprises. So I think that many people do, when we hear these things, we don't take time to investigate. The Minister of Women Affairs, Mrs. Pauline Talent, also commended the management for pushing for this and said, poverty is deadly and this will be a move to support small businesses. So it's open to everybody. Reach out and find out how you can benefit from this.
So I wanted to talk about the doctors. I know Nima had mentioned it yesterday, but it's important that I also repeat it because what the National Association of Resident Doctors are asking for is 4 things. Number one, they say that it's important for them to have the full payment of salaries of all their officers and residents on the GIFMS platform, upward review of hazard allowance from 5,000 to 50% of the consolidated basic salaries of all health workers, and the immediate payment of the 2019 balance of the 2020 and 2021 medical residency training funds, MRTF. These are basic things that these guys are asking for. I don't know why it's so hard. Whilst our president has traveled for his own medical checkup, our doctors are here asking for their entitlement, which is rightful.
There's a story in The Guardian which I will take, and it will just make us sad. And we really know that now, it's related to this story. Okay, it's in The Guardian. Yeah. So it's really just talking about how much we spend, how much Nigeria loses to medical tourism, and it says that...
Let me take it in Guardian right now.
Yeah, okay, good.
So The Guardian says Nigeria loses over 576 billion yearly to medical tourism. IMF demands debt data accuracy transparency from Nigeria. Others. Headsmen attack Ebonyi communities, kill 20, destroy property and others. Gunmen kill Catholic priests, 3 others in Benue. And be ruthless with bandits, kidnappers, sponsors, Buhari orders service chiefs. Let's talk about the medical tourism.
So the medical tourism, of course, this is at the back of our president traveling again for medical checkup. It states that it's been 2 years since his last trip, but it's been 6 times since he became president, even though he made a promise that this was going to be stopped once he becomes president. And Garba Shehu tried to explain it as this was something he was doing long before he became president, so he had to continue to keep up with his doctor's appointments abroad. But we have some numbers here that I think we will find very interesting. It says $1.2 billion, that's about 576 billion naira, is being lost by Nigerians yearly to medical tourism. We have over 8,178 medical doctors of Nigerian origin working in the UK. We have in Nigeria, meanwhile in Nigeria, we have 1 doctor per 5,000 patients. And then we have 5,000 Nigerians travel every month outside Nigeria for medical reasons. And then we have the health sector budget for 2021 was allocated 632 million, over 632 million. And it says that 20% that, we have 1 billion, 60% of this amount, $1 billion annually, right? Dollars annually is lost to some of these some of the things like oncology, orthopedics, nephrology, cardiology. Those are the things that many Nigerians go for. The amount that we have budgeted, about 632, right? We have the amount that is lost, 532. That is just about 100 or 10, that's 1 billion that is lost. That's the difference between what we spend for medical tourism and what we have budgeted in Nigeria. And that what we have budgeted in Nigeria for health sector, which is only 10 billion what we lose, is to pay salaries for all our health infrastructure, health programs and everything, no infrastructure. NAD and all the experts are saying, see, the only way to do this, we need to ban our officials, politically exposed officers from traveling abroad, and then put all these monies into doing better with our infrastructure, paying better, funding better.
You say there are 5,000 people. They're not all public officers. They are private people going to. So it's one thing to ban them.
Yes, so that's one. So if we ban them, they will do better. And then if we put the money that is being paid towards medical tourism, we'll be able to use that towards infrastructure and also paying
the
the
average
salaries.
politician has an allocation for medical checkup. That money should be spent within Nigeria only. If that caveat is put on ground and that money actually goes to Nigerian hospitals, we would see improvement in our health sector.
Okay, moving on to the Punch. 100 Kaduna victims in bandits' dens. Others live in fear, says Khan. Picture here of Governor Sanwo-Olu presenting 13 cars to Lagos outstanding teachers. UK court to execute 500 million damages awarded MFM GO actually against blogger. Ondo Monarch warns residents on meat consumption as 30 cows die mysteriously. Tears as suspected Fulani killed 22 in Ebonyi and Enugu Umahi fumes. Buhari departs for the UK. We talked about that earlier. Let me talk about the fact that our governor gave out 13 vehicles yesterday. He had actually made the promise to teachers at the launch of the Eco Excel program last year. And he said that he was pretty excited after the training of the Eco Excel. And he said, listen, I'm willing to give out cars to teachers because your reward should be on earth, not in heaven, as they popularly say. So he made good his promise, and he gave out cars. Not only that, I think they got freezers, they got iPads. I mean, they took them on the retreat over the weekend at a hotel, just to make the teachers feel good. And so the idea is to encourage teachers, because the profession is a laudable profession, and it's a noble profession. It's a profession that we must all be proud of, because all of us are products of teachers. So it's a profession that we must begin to elevate and heighten that quality, so people know it's a good thing to be a teacher, because we're having a lot of issues with teachers. In addition, people actually decided to go into the educational sector. In addition, I would love private sectors to also fund this kind of project. So rather than giving 13, we could give 100 to 100 teachers and have more spread of this good benefits to them, because they can afford it and they should support the government in doing something.
So I have a story. The MFM, the MFM leader, GO, Dr. Daniel Olukoya, has won a case against a UK blogger called Maureen Badebo. She had written so many things about the GO, accused him of selling books in the UK and not paying his taxes, alleging that his son owned a lot of money in Heritage Bank, and that somebody else had stolen money and taken to the church to cover up, sort of like money laundering, to cover up for the fraud. And it's been found that what she did was libelous, and she's been warned not, first of all, he's been awarded 500 million naira in damages, which a UK High Court has registered. And also she's been restrained from writing anything concerning him or anybody associated with him. And her too, and whoever her agents are and whoever is associated with her have been restrained from writing anything about the GO of
I'm happy this happened, because we get a lot of criticism from churches. Before you say Jack Robinson, oh, pastor just did this, oh, they are doing that. And people need to know that somebody must pay for these false news and fake news, because it is quite destructive. And I'm so happy that somebody has seen to the end to ensure that he is compensated for the damages done to not just him. And it's sort of a deterrent for other bloggers that just post what they cannot verify. Yes, fake news. The major headline. Yes, so Khan is saying that the state chapter of Khan, Chairman Reverend Joseph Hayab, is saying 100 people are currently victims of bandits, mentioning, of course, the 39 students of Federal College of Forestry, Mechanization, ACFACA, and he said 8 members of Redeemed Christian Church of God are also kidnapped, and it's public knowledge that these abductees were still with their doctors within the state. Their problem is people are living in fear because they don't have protection from the government. Said, a couple was adopted at different times at their farms in Sonyo and Soka area. In Niger State, the same thing. There is a gale of kidnapping sweeping across the country. That's what Khan is speaking up concerning, and asking that, Punch would always say Major General Muhammadu Buhari, that's our president, should use the other security chiefs to fish out masterminds of banditry within the country. He's also saying the military should take out the sponsors of bandits. We've heard many people say they know the sponsors of these bandits, but we're not seeing enough action. Right. Currently, 100 people have been kidnapped by bandits, and they are still within the custody. They haven't been rescued. Let's not forget them. President, while he was traveling, gave that route act to his people to ensure that they fish out the sponsors of these. But let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue with the front page review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're going to move on to Daily Sun. Lawan denies backing tenure elongation for Buhari. Massacre in Ebonyi. Gunmen kill Catholic priest, abduct catechist's wife and 4 others in Benue and Kaduna. We are ready for comprehensive national census, says NPC. Farmer herders clash, 33 trillion naira livestock sector under threat, says Minister. Okay, let's start with the Ebonyi. What happened in Ebonyi, please?
According to eyewitnesses and also the governor, first of all, he says about 50 villagers, including women and children, were killed on Monday. And this was in Ishielu, local government of Ebonyi State. And a priest also of Methodist Church is also feared to have been killed. His car was burned. And this happened on Monday between 7:30 to 7 p.m. And according to some of the eyewitnesses, they said they came in their large numbers on motorbikes and they slaughtered people, they burnt houses, they looted, and destroyed property. And some people said that there was a time a Fulani man was killed. One of them was killed. And then after a while, they noticed that the herders started leaving their community. This is according to the eyewitness reports. They started leaving the community. And a few of them thought it seemed, strange that they would be doing that. And then this happened on Monday. The governor also confirmed that 15 people were killed in 4 communities in Ishelu. And although some people are saying that these numbers, they're still counting because some of them cannot even be found yet. Yes. And the governor is insisting that they have an idea who the sponsors of these killers are, and that they are hoping that federal government will step in, the security operatives will step in, and they will see before they name these people. But he's escalating it to the very top, and he hopes that they fish them out, and the people, and also try to calm his people, right, that they make sure that they will find who the perpetrators of these crimes are.
Really, sir, same rhetoric, but hey, what are you going to do? That's what we face. Let's talk about whether he's praying for elongation.
So apparently, the Ola Awoniyi, who is the media aide to the Senate President Ahmed Lawan, had to put out a statement because there was a tweet that had gone viral where it seemed like the Senate President was speaking for the President to have an elongated term. And he had to quickly say that he wanted to, the first line of action was to first ignore the tweet, but later they realized that it was going viral, people were retweeting it, and that it was wrong. The Senate President supports the 1999 Constitution, which imposes 4-year tenure on every president, and that's what they still speak for, that he doesn't support elongation of the tenure of this current president, that the tweet was malicious and it was false. Okay. Let's just put that out there. For those. All right.
So the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Sabo Nano, has warned that the lingering face-off between herders and farmers can cause an estimated 33 trillion loss for the federal government. According to him, the livestock subsector in this country is worth 33 trillion and can be lost if we do not curb the issue of insecurity in the country as soon as possible. He has proposed a policy to give and define direction for the country's dairy industry, where all players at whatever scale can be expected to abide by the rules and regulations. Okay, moving on now to the Nigerian Tribune, I believe.
You missed the story in the Punch.
Okay, you want to say?
Yes, I wanted to take the story of the customs, because the custom, while speaking on the floor of the National Assembly, one is the targets for financial targets for the customs has been increased. Now it's over 1.5 trillion naira. That's on one side. On the other side, the customs boss has proposed that Nigerians deserve better quality of cars on the road, and because of that, they are proposing that only cars they're going to be banning cars above 7 years from coming into the country, with the hope of stimulating our own industry, and that our own industry will start producing locally made cars which will be affordable. Let's not put the cart before the horse. Nigerians are barely struggling to afford to bring in old cars. Can we ensure that we have a functioning industry before we ban bringing in cars above 7 years?
Okay. Nigerian Tribune, APC membership registration ends, fresh controversy begins. 2023 Legislatures Forum demands zoning of presidency to the North Central. 800 stolen Nigerian assets worth $400 million linked to public officials in UAE. Gunmen killed Reverend Father, 3 parishioners in Benue. 50 million youths, I made accidental verbal mistakes, says Tinubu. 10 elongation, IGP knows fate April 16th. And as he jets out, Buhari orders security chiefs to crush bandits and sponsors. Okay, which story do you have, Mariam?
Okay, I've got the North Central lawmakers from Niger, Kwara, Benue, Kogi states. They attended this meeting and they're telling Nigerians and all those involved in the politics and politicking come 2023 that you see that position that you're always giving North Central, that party chairman. Just keep those your new unnamed, unknown parties and be giving us party chairman so that it precludes that zone from running for president. 2023 is our year. Yeah. We are running for president and everybody should know. And if you have a party, if you do not put someone from the North Central, then you are not talking. Or please stop putting them as party chairpersons. They are not interested.
Okay, startling revelations in Abuja. Please give me a few minutes to read this. 800 assets worth $400 million stolen from Nigeria and domiciled in the UAE and United Kingdom by 13 Nigerian security chiefs and public officials. It stated that out of these 800, about 216 were security chiefs, and 584 have been traced to Nigerian public officials. And the father said that 17 billion naira being stolen assets from Nigeria annually are laundered between the UAE and UK. So these are revelations that are obviously startling. I don't know what's going to happen after these revelations have been made.
But we know one now. There was the former chief of, that is currently an ambassador. There was a property traced to, what's his name? A property traced in Dubai to him.
Which one of them? Not me now. Who?
No. It was Buratai. There was a Buratai.
Okay, was it Buratai?
Still in court,
It's
so an
allegation of a property in Dubai that belongs to Buratai.
Yes.
And there are many, once you get into Dubai, the first thing they used to welcome you is opportunities to invest in real estate because of what they know that people are coming into where to start their funds. So, and the Nigerian government needs to, we need
a partnership with UAE to bring down
UAE and the UK. I think that was what
UK has been helping, but we're depending on their governments. We need to watch. Right. Yes, we need to watch our own. How are we moving money out?
But unfortunately, we don't have enough data, and we don't have those ways to trace.
What's CBN government doing?
That's why we need those partnerships with those international countries to help us fish these people out, because they are the ones that are receiving this money.
We have data, and we have people who are interested in getting this data. That is why we had that particular meeting, telling us the numbers of people who are stashing money abroad. But is the political will to push it, to make sure that these people are arrested, are persecuted, and are made to return the money. That's it. That's the only thing holding us back.
I don't know, because abroad, they can also trace you with your social security numbers. And easily. Here, we don't have that information, so anybody can just bag something out and just sneak it out. You can't trace people properly in this country. That's why I say we need international partners together to fish out these thieves. Okay, moving on to Vanguard. Take out sponsors of kidnappers and bandits, says Buhari. Massacre in Ebonyi, we talked about that already. Gunmen kill Catholic priests, we also mentioned that. Let's find a story we've not taken. Failed call-up system task team to Bedlam. That's the Apapa gridlock story. We've borrowed $2.5 billion from China Exim Bank, says Amechi. And COVID-19, India extends shelf life of AstraZeneca vaccine to 9 months. I don't know, I was really worried about that story. Because what I read, the sense of we already got the vaccines. Yeah. The vaccines we have expires in 6 months.
Yeah.
Now, what they're saying is we have having issues in getting people vaccinated as soon as possible. So they're saying, okay, with the ones you have, you can extend it to 9 months. Is that how they just extend vaccines?
Or maybe it was an information that they've always had, and now that you can extend.
So now it's buying us more time to vaccinate more people.
Even with some medicines, they will tell you that even though it says best before, you're able to use it a few months after.
Okay, let's pick one more story.
Let's talk about the traffic situation, the failure of the Ecolog system. So The two people whose sides I want to highlight. Number one, Comrade Femi Baleyi is in charge of Tinkan. Tinkan Port Second Gate describes that they've turned truck drivers into ATM machines, saying that from Sunrise bus stop, once your call-up has expired, the officers will turn your truck back, and that is what is happening daily. They've turned us to ATM machine in the name of e-call-up system. Once the call-up expires, they will tell you to pay 150,000 naira, which will expire within 48 hours. This is issues within the call-up system that is making people disobey it. There was a major gridlock. The entire road was blocked yesterday. Now, the special advisor on Lagos traffic enforcement to the governor of Lagos State, Tony Fayinka, mentioned the fact that they are going to be involving military in managing the challenge there, saying that they've reached out to Nupeng chairman, and they are going to, that everybody must embrace the e-call-up system. So now, please, can we still have a round table to discuss this thing? Because if they are saying that the system is faulty, then we must check what they are complaining about and not just force everybody to jump in line, because we believe it is a good system to clear up the road there.
Unfortunately, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we'll bring in our guest from NBC. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, at the weekend said it was expecting 22 million set-top boxes, STB2, for initial rollout for the digital switchover DSO in the country. According to reports, by the end of 2022, the country would have achieved complete analog switch-off. Joining us on the show now is the Acting Director General of the Nigeria Broadcasting Commission, Professor Armstrong Idachaba. Welcome to the show. It's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much, Mariah. Good to be on your set finally.
Yes,
it's a pleasure to be here.
So there's a lot to cover with you, sir. And I must say that I remember when this journey started many years ago. I had attended one of the very first meetings when the NBC had called all the broadcasters. BON was there. I think late Amaka Igwe was the chairman of that committee at the time, and you were the Lagos State chapter chairman. And you sold this vision to us. All of us got excited about it, and there was a 2015 deadline that we're all looking for to see. What happened that caused the delay, and how have you come around now to say, okay, we are ready, we are actually ready? How do we believe indeed that the government is ready to do a real switchover? And what exactly is a digital switch? For those who don't have an idea what it is, what exactly is a digital switch? Just help us understand it.
Right, this is a loaded intro, from the historical to the present and future. Anyway, it's good to be on your set. Congratulations. Like you alluded, what it means is that you two have been on ground for a pretty long time, sharing the initial vision of the digital switchover. Yeah, truthfully, before 2015, plans were actually, it was a global decision. ITU, International Telecom Union, had agreed in 2016 that the world was going to transit from analog to digital broadcasting. Yes. This was a decision that was taken with good counsel and for good reasons. One, digital technology, no doubt, was going to improve the gains of broadcasting. Secondly, by moving from analog to digital broadcasting, there was going to be availability of frequencies or spectrum, and that was going to lead to a boost in the telecom sector. So these combined advantages imposed on the world generally the need for broadcasters to shift to digital broadcasting. Like other parts of the world, Nigeria was actually determined. Nigeria also proactively set up government institutions in terms of articulating government policy to drive the process. By 2012, we had actually come up with a government white paper on the transition from analog to digital broadcasting. And that was when all those groundwork began. But what happened was that between 2012 and 2015, most of the work was basically on regards to theorization of the process. You know, we're looking at building the blocks, setting the necessary infrastructure, and we never really got to a quick start. But that's not peculiar to Nigeria. All over the world, almost every country has had to shift dates in terms of transiting, because the digital transition is actually multifaceted, it's multidimensional, and it requires a lot in terms of planning, in terms of investment, in terms of rearranging the general broadcast architecture and other ancillary dimensions to the entire process. But where are we now? Of course, we missed the 2015 date. Again, we romanticized with 2015. Again, we didn't get there. But between then and now, so much has happened. You know, as we speak in Nigeria, the transition has taken off in 6 states. And for the benefit of the viewers, we began with a pilot in Jos, right, in April 2016. Yeah, from then, we went to Abuja. From Abuja, we were in Kwara, we were in Kaduna, we were in Enugu. So there's a cross-regional representation, a micro-presentation or template of what's to happen across the country. And it's from there that we have now articulated phase 2 of the process, which brings us to Lagos.
Right, okay.
Okay. So for many others who are watching, apart from people like Barayo and you who are, you know, seasoned broadcasters, Nigerians are watching and wondering, what does this exactly mean for me, sitting at home and watching my TV? Does that mean the way I watch TV changes? Is there any monetary contributions or payments I'll be making because of these changes? In what way would this improve, watching experience vis-a-vis platforms like Netflix, who have just, taken over the TV and the viewing space right now?
Thank you so much for the simplicity and innocence of your question, because it helps me to communicate to the ordinary person. So what is in it for the man and woman in Mushin, Ajegunle, and other places? What it does, it's supposed to be a quantum leap in terms of the movement, the viewer experience of the ordinary people compared to what the elite currently enjoys with regards to television viewing. As you know, many Nigerians, those with average income, are able to watch digital content already. The GOTV you watch, the NTA StarTimes you watch, and they are all on the digital platform. And what are the peculiarities? One, if you have a digital platform, you are able to watch many channels at the same time. The channels come clean, crisp. You are able to choose in terms of diversity of choices and pluralism. And then, but of course, at the middle of all of that, you part with some money. Now, what the federal government wants to do, this DTT transition, at the core of it is the idea to bring information and access to information available to the ordinary Nigerian. The ordinary Nigerian will now sit in his home and also access 50, 60, 70 TV channels, all of them free of charge. And they are going to also be reflective of all the stratifications in terms of genre. You have sports, music, drama, and you don't have to pay subscription. That's the unique part of it. And also, more importantly, government is also deliberately trying to use that as a converged platform to also move people across the digital divide in terms of access to telecommunications, so that we are going to infuse dongle that will allow some kind of interactiveness on the internet. So
the boxes would have internet access.
Absolutely. So we are using broadcast to transform the entire telco broadcast sector revolutionary.
Right, great.
So Muriel won me over in her excitement 9 years ago when she had that meeting, and all of us were forced to know what DSO was about, because she was so excited. Somehow we felt a bit of, okay, when is that going to happen? When is that going to happen? I want to ask, what has been the success rate at the states where it has been deployed? What has been the response? How has the acceptance been? And what are you now hoping to achieve in the next phase as we implement this new, coming into Lagos and into the larger cities?
Thank you again, and I think that this is quite instructive, because in the first place, the value of a pilot is for you to be able to gauge the stability and efficiency of any project. And I take my contribution from the pilot scheme in Jos. I was actually on ground. I saw the first rollout. And one picture, mental picture I have in my mind is an excited rural person within the fringes of Jos, hinterland of the area you call Kuru, you know, and I saw a little family in a hut where we actually had deployed these free TV set-top boxes, and we strolled in one morning, and I saw the excitement that in a remote village of Plateau, hinterland of Jos, some local farmers could watch crisp, clear digital signal in their room, and they were flipping channels. And there's a guy who is a reporter in Abuja. He works with the Voice of Nigeria, and he happens to come from the Plateau. And each time we discuss, he tells me how excitable his parents are in the rural area, and that ever since the proposition was installed, they've been having great fun. So it means that it is durable, and that the people really love it.
Yeah.
And anywhere we have set up, the infrastructure is up and running well.
Now, because of time, I'm going to have to throw a few questions together. I'm going to mumble it up together. Now, I know in the early days, you had, you're going to license 3 companies, the NTA, StarTimes, there was Pinnacle was part of it. The third company, we're not sure if you've decided if it's going to be DSTV, or we're not sure who the licenses are going to be. Has that been cleared up, number 1? Number 2, the set of boxes. One of the issues was that it was expensive, you know, and they just have to buy those boxes. Now, is the government going to subsidize the boxes for us? Are you going to give it out for free? What exactly is the plan? And when do you plan to do it in Lagos? I mean, when is the launch in Lagos? That's 3 questions in one.
This one is up to 5, Mariah. So where do we begin? I think you were talking about
the licensors.
The licensing of the signal distributors. The signal distributors actually are supposed to be transmitting companies. You know, under your current disposition, what happens is that you create your content, you also transmit. Right. Now, in the digital, in the DTT era, a company is going to transmit all the signals for all the stations in Lagos, 1 or 2. Yes. Right? And we decided to create one of those companies from the existing infrastructure, engineering infrastructure and setup of NTA. Yes. That company is called ITS. Yes. It's the one having some kind of partnership with the Chinese. But there's another that is also Nigerian indigenous driven. That one is called Pinnacle Communications. Right. Now, what the white paper says is that we'll begin at the initial with these 2. And that if there is need as the rollout continues, or if market exigencies demand, then we can bring in a 3rd. So the 2 are actually up and running. In Jos, it is ITS. In Abuja, it's Pinnacle. Is it regional based or? No, all of them have a national frequency allotment, and they are supposed to operate nationally. Okay. Right, so that's for signal distribution. Yes. Now, the fundamental, critical question you raise is also with the set-top box. And for you viewers, set-top box basically is the decoder, right? Same thing as decoder. Because you have your TV sets, we don't want you to throw away your TV sets that you use now. They are analog. This decoder will help convert the digital signal, you know, and make it receivable as digital content. So nobody's going to throw away TV, just get that small box. But the box, government deliberately is making it low, and that's why we licensed 13 Nigerian companies to produce those boxes. Great. They have already set up their plans, and they have assured us that they will be able to meet the market. Fantastic. But I'll use this opportunity to also appeal to Nigerians, local governments, state governments, to as much as possible see how they can assist the indigent, you know, so that they can also have access to these boxes, because it's critical to frog.
We have to wrap up, unfortunately. We're out of time. But we know, I know you're in Lagos for a reason, and I know that there's an event coming up very soon. We'll keep following up with this, and we'll bring you back as things unfold concerning this switchover. But thank you very much, sir, for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. And let me say, I followed your program for a while. It's good to be here. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you, sir.
Keeping Nigerian men and women awake every morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
So keep it up.
All right, let's go on a break. When we come back, we continue with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, a video went viral that captured the moment the Code of Conduct Tribunal chairman was almost mobbed for assaulting a security guard at Banex Plaza in Abuja. The video obtained by Sahara reporters, Justice Umar was seen slapping the security guard and forcing him to kneel down before he was restrained by the crowd. Now, he was then forced into his vehicle by the police officers. This video went viral. I'm not sure if we can show a clip of it so Nigerians can see what we're talking about. But what are your general thoughts on this? You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948 to share your views. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweet. Ladies, I'm sure you saw that video.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm sure like 10 people sent it to me. I actually didn't open any until yesterday evening, and I was equally shocked. I think even recently we discussed something like this. We're trying to reference the allegations made against Chief Femi Kennedy, talking about how that how people take advantage of their roles and positions over others. You know, what are your thoughts when you saw that video? Let me start with
Okay. Our society is very oppressive. Our society, naturally, the powerful people tend to feel like they are all above the law. And this is just a similitude of what pervades our society, where someone has a bit of influence or a bit of power and the person lords it over everybody and commandeers everyone into obedience. And it's sad to see it at such levels now. Like we've carried our bad character inside, and now we have become important people and we're displaying our bad characters outside. We've carried our dirty laundry and we've taken the dirty laundry and we're washing it outside. You know, they say if you're not well trained at home, they will train you from outside. I think that we've gotten to the point where we need to start training our leaders from outside. I think that our citizens should call out. We still have Elisha Abo that I feel hasn't received the right punitive measures that would stop things like this from happening. Because we cannot have people at helms of leadership displaying this level of inability to control themselves.
Are we fair on them? Because, I mean, this hooliganism doesn't have any... doesn't have status. Hooliganism is across board, obviously. But what we have seen now, anybody can be a hooligan. Because this behavior has been described also as that behavior that is unbecoming of a leader. What are your thoughts when you saw that video?
Okay, so my thoughts. When I had Code of Conduct Bureau, I had to go and check. I'm like, I mean, for what it says, Code of Conduct Bureau, I'm like, how are you involved in something like this so openly, you know? And it says their mandate is to establish and maintain a high standard of public morality in the conduct of government business and to ensure that the actions and behavior of public officers conform to the highest standards of public morality and accountability. So in a class, you are the class monitor, where you are supposed to ensure that everyone behaves themselves. And you are supposed to be the example of good behavior, and then you find yourself in a situation like this. It's really sad. I really feel bad for him. I mean, the irony is so, you know, it's fun. It would have been fun if it wasn't so sad. And as you said, Tokwe, this is just something that we do almost every day. But my other thing is that many times we blame it on the office that people hold. And I think that we need to look deeper than that. Right. It's not about the offices. It's about who we are and how we behave. And it starts from your home. You have a gate man at your door. You come by your gate. You lord over him. You're screaming at the person. You're shouting at the person. Or a security man is at the gate to your office. You're coming. He's like, get out of your car. Open the boot. He barely is civil towards you. So this is something that when you now find yourself in whatever office, whatever it looks like is the office, it's not the office. It's just the way we have behaved and what we have accepted over a long time. The good thing is, it seems that because of social media, and even particularly these cases, that people are standing up to bad behavior. Right. And they are not bothered who you are or what you are.
I've said it over and I'll keep saying this phrase. Our leaders must wake up to understand what time it is. They don't get it. They keep forgetting. Everybody is recording. You think everybody around you doesn't have a video. Somebody in one corner somewhere is recording. Your behavior, the behavior of our leaders is showing obviously a reflection of our people. That's how all of us are. Because many people are, those of you driving in traffic, that you cross over people without even proper trafficking.
Yeah.
So you're flipping the finger.
Yeah.
So it's across the board. So it's easy to point fingers, but we are all the
No,
same.
Mariah, we're not all the same.
Many of us are the same.
No, we are not all the same, and more is expected from you when you become a leader, because you are the example we are all looking at.
My brother, my sister. The foundation has been destroyed.
So that's why I said
why
we are
you
not
didn't
all,
get there?
we're not all the same. No, but Mariah, this same man will not dare it in Dubai. He will not dare it in Dubai. He will not dare it in the UK. He won't dare it in America. When your society permits rot, you will continue to smell stench everywhere. So these things would happen because we haven't, as a society, decided that we don't take it. We've taken it. So that's why I said the story of Elisha Abo hasn't served as a deterrent. If he lost his position, this man will not try it. You see, you will be so angry. You have Dangote's daughter. He points his finger into your face, but you know you cannot touch Dangote's daughter. It's Dangote's daughter. That is exactly what we're saying. Human beings must be treated as human beings, as dignifying beings. But our society has said that some people are more equal than the other, and so they get to get away with whatever they're doing. Even try it in other societies.
I think, thank you very much. I think you made a fantastic point, because we even saw it during the thing that happened at the State House, the Capitol.
Yes.
Hooliganism doesn't have color either. White, black, all races go crazy. So obviously, it's that respect of the rule of law. There's respect the fact that, yes, if I do it, there'll be a punitive measure.
Yes.
It's the fact that you know that you're in a certain way it's accepted. That's why you think it's okay. Okay, so it has gone viral. It will trend for a few days, and then they move on.
And as long as if this man remains, and you know what would be honorable for me? It's for him to resign. You are not worthy of that position
because
based on the fact
our
that
objective is to teach.
Yes. Don't wait for them to punish you.
Experience as a teachable opportunity for youngsters. So they see this and say, okay, I have an opportunity to teach them that you have to behave properly in the public. So you sack him. So you cause him to pay.
The honorable thing.
So for me, right, I still think it's a lot more to do about the way that we behave individually, much more than systems. Systems, yes, are meant to be there to enforce and push and, enforce a particular way of living or culture.
Go ahead, Mary.
Okay. So for me, if he had, okay, first of all, I agree. Because, not just because he was a leader caught on camera, because of the office that he holds or what he represents officially, I mean, the best conduct would be for him to resign. There's also a paper that had been put out from his office, which was trying to explain why he was found in that position. He says he actually did not go there with any police officers, and he did not mean to cause any fracas with anybody. It was just that he was talking to somebody, and the person refused for him to get to park. The response did not make any sense. I mean, even the wording of that letter was sad, but it just shows that Nigerians were not very aware of the consequences of our actions. We're not very aware of the gravity of some of the things that we do. And I want to also use that capital that you use as an example. The reason why those people did what they did was because they had 4 years of someone instigating and feeding into something. So also there was a failure at the top and a failure of the system. So it's important that we understand it has to do with who we are, what we teach ourselves. It's important that we teach it in schools. It's also important that we punish those who have gone ahead and done things like that and use them as an example. But you cannot pick one person over the other. And then, you talked about how if a daughter of Dangote puts her hand in your face, blah, blah, blah. That is also because as a society, we put money above good behavior. Yeah. You would respect somebody who has money, however they got it, whoever they are, as long as they have money. And someone who doesn't have that much money is not important. Then when we look to ourselves, one to another, and realize that it starts with us, we'll see the changes that we desire.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with this conversation. I'd like to see the tweets. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
God, you have lost the case. Your power will not save you.
Right. So I'm still quite disturbed about these videos.
Once again, I'll still call for that he should resign. So I know that he probably is a very good man, respectable man in his own way. This was a moment of something, whatever excuse they would come up with. Is the chairman of the Code of Conduct Bureau. His position is supposed to strengthen the institution, but him remaining in that position after this behavior would water down the strength and the effectiveness of that institution. And the right thing to do, if you have posterity in mind, if you have integrity as a person, if you're thinking long-term, is to step out of that position in respect of that position.
I think Mariam had hit the nail on the head when she kind of described exactly what their vision and their mission is supposed to be of that organization. But I worry about their response, and I worry that their response was trying to play an ethnic card, which I think is totally unacceptable. And Nigerians, I think we've grown past this level, where government officials begin to throw religion, ethnicity in our faces. When you goof, own your goof. Don't throw in ethnicity. We've passed that level. You see, there was a time you can do that. You will get crazy. No. We're in a different season. We are smarter than this. Amongst yourself, play ethnic. That's your business. When it comes to things like this, don't you dare throw the ethnic card. Don't you dare throw the religious card. Because we know better. Your behavior was clear in the video. And what the right thing for you to do is either step aside, get somebody else to do the job, because you do not deserve to be the chairman of a Code of Conduct Bureau who's supposed to ensure and chaperone the behavior of Nigerian citizens, public officers. It's wrong. So I think I'd like to take them to and open our phone lines. You can call us on 081-270-53687 and 091-390-76948. Tweet to us also at Your View, and let us hear your tweets. Do you have any tweets?
Bilikis Morenike says, I saw this video yesterday on Twitter and I was appalled. I didn't understand the context until you clarified it now. All I said was that I wanted to unsee what I saw. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. These abuse of power privileges need to be stopped. Reverend says, Mr. Danlady's display at a plaza is condemnable and the highest order of executive rascality. Even the press release from his office is more provocative.
Yes. God Victor says the chairman should tender an unreserved apology to the assaulted security officer and damages paid to him, after which he should be asked to resign that position. He is not a good example. Festus Akimboyewa says, basically, Danladi Umar committed a criminal offense of assault in broad daylight and expect human rights lawyers to take up the matter. I mean,
let me take this call from the UK. Ade, are you there?
Good morning, Mariah. Good morning.
Thanks for calling. Your live. Go ahead, please.
Yes. First of all, you explain to us why you are 3. You normally you are 4. So we need to know that. Secondly, on this issue of the Danladi Umar, it's a disgrace to not only to Nigeria, but to the justice itself. And because this man has too much money, that is why the money is pushing him like this. There are many allegations against this man. Years back, he have left the office. But look at what is happening now. This is a disgrace. He should go immediately. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Adi. Yes, you're going to take a few more tweets. We're going to wrap up on this.
Okay.
But I think, yes, go ahead.
Okay, Andrew in StarTimes says, I've watched the video and I could say that Fela mentioned this many years ago, called Power Show. And really everyone is just coming for him. Like, you know, he has behaved disgracefully, and he should, really the first thing he should do is to tender an apology for that video that we watched, and also for that response. And also whoever it is that wrote that response should definitely leave that office and never have to work in government place again until he's gotten the proper education to, you know, to work in a government establishment.
Ma'am, I think this is an opportunity for us to remind our leaders. When you see youth go out on #NSAS, hashtag #NSAS, to protest, and you come out and they give you a 5-point agenda, and you say, I have done 5 now, come and see, you try to meet them halfway, and they don't believe you. They don't trust you. Why? Because of things like this. Because you have fallen in their hand, let me use the Nigerian parlance, on so many occasions. So when you say, youth, listen to us, I just to mention it at the colloquium, that young people should listen to us. It's difficult to listen because we don't trust your behavior. We don't trust what you do. You can't tell a young person that I want to give you good governance, and they listen to you, because when you don't even demonstrate in any shape or fashion that you know what you're doing.
Nigerians in your first term that you stand against trips abroad and then medical tourism, and then we see you do it.
Exactly.
You cannot tell Nigerians that you are giving the security chiefs red card. They didn't do anything. Then the day you are now traveling, you now say you are reading riot acts to the same people that have been there since.
Yeah.
So like, you are saying A, but you are doing B. We don't listen to what you say because we are being taught by what you're doing, and what you're doing is showing us clearly you don't.
Let me take this call from Cecilia. Cecilia has been holding. Are you there, Cecilia? You're live. Cecilia, you're live. Go ahead, please. Talk to me, not the television, please.
Hello?
Yes, you're live. Go ahead, Cecilia.
Yeah, good morning, my sisters.
Yes.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm a first caller calling from Abuja.
Welcome to the show.
My sisters, people are doing a very good job.
Thank you, madam.
You know, one thing I see to all this issue is that we need to take action.
I'm going to have to disconnect the call because you're listening to the TV, so it's a bit delayed. Yes. We're going to take a few. Yeah, go ahead, Mariam.
Take this tweet. It's Bill Gates again, and she says, are there consequences to impunity committed by people in power in the country? Does any public office holder get prosecuted when they so shamelessly display abuse of power in the society? We can't keep condoning such bad behavior from so-called leaders. So that is the problem what we have in our country. And the fear is that we do not want jungle justice. We do not want a mob the way it happened to him. If he knew already that he will be prosecuted or he will be punished for bad behavior, he would not do it. Secondly, if the people believed or trusted that the system will catch up with people who misbehave, they wouldn't need to mob him. You know, so when the system fails, you raise a group of people that in the end, it affects all of us and it destroys all of us. So we need to be careful. People need to see that those who have committed a crime are brought to justice. That's the same way with bandits and kidnappers and all the ills that's going on in our society. It just seems that people can commit all sorts of atrocities in our country and get away with it because maybe someone will make a call or someone knows somebody. Nobody really gets punished for bad behavior.
Demola, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Oh, yeah, I'm there.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, yeah. My contribution to what you are discussing. Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
I think our so-called, how do we call them, elites, whatever you call them, I think they bully. They always bully wherever they are. When you said somebody is bullying, you mean when somebody is infringed in your right. Because that guy has got a right. You can't just go, that's what you call assault here. And if you are going to be charged, you charge for grievancy bodily harm. Because the man is helpless. He cannot defend himself. You got security around you, and you use your position to oppress him. That is equivalent to just dismiss her automatically. And I will try to employ.
We have to wrap up on this, unfortunately, but I think we're all in agreement on exactly his behavior, and we demand an apology, and we have to run right now. But I'm told that we have one more call. Hello, good morning, are you there? Okay, we lost the call. So let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll bring in our special guest to discuss this issue of ranching. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, with over 27 million cattle, which is more than the entire human population of Cameroon, and a market valuation of about 4.14 trillion naira, and no developed industry, Nigeria's cattle industry is causing major problems in the country due to open grazing if a ranching industry is not developed quickly. Nigeria stands to benefit not just from solving the problems between farmers and the local communities and the entire cattle herders, but also stimulating the huge economic benefits and impacts from job creation. Joining us now on the show to shed better light on this is our own public affairs analyst, Mr. Roman Essengale, welcome to the show. It's always good to have you around.
Thank you.
I know you go to the abroad, you come back, you're around the world, you're in demand, but it's good to have you in Nigeria at this time. Okay, so you can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your TVC so we can read your tweets. Now, herders, farmers clashes. All the states are in agreement that they don't want open grazing. Somebody will say, I don't even have any land to give to you in the first place. In your view, how economically beneficial is ranching to not just the individual states, to the country at large? And is that the way to go at this time?
Thank you for having me on the program. I think if we have to look at it in an in-depth situation, we are a group of people that don't understand what value chain is. Now, value chain creates industries, and industries are all about value chain. Now, when I sat down to do this analysis because of what was going on, I said, okay, as a citizen, I remembered what my white neighbor told me some time ago. He said that the first step to failure in any society is when you leave everything to the government. Because the governments are just people like you who are equally looking for answers. So in your own little way, you kind of try to do something to contribute to national development. So I had to, I'm a numbers person, right? And I know that in this society, we don't really look at numbers. We don't look at data. If you ask the white man, go right, he's going to ask you, why are you telling me to go right? You have to justify it either from facts or from empirical data, you understand? So, as I said earlier, we don't understand the value chain system. Value chains create industries, and it's all about, you know, let's use the ranching industry as an example, right? If you look at the ranching industry, there are over 6 value chains that can be created. If you ranch your cattle, there is dairy, there is leather, there is corned beef, there is logistics, the veterinary industry will explode, construction will explode too because you have to build the ranches, right? Now, and then the hay. Now, take the hay industry, right? If you're looking at the hay industry, that's agriculture on its own, right? Now, when you now take that, the hay industry also has its own value chain. And then let us even take one part of the value chain of the hay industry, which is agriculture. The fertilizer industry will benefit. When you take the fertilizer industry again, break it down, you have the bagging industry. So it's, by the time we finished calculating, the ripple effect, we were looking at almost about between 45 to 50 industries that will be created if we develop a ranching industry. And that's what you call, economic impact, right? It's not just you ranch the cattle and that's it. Because of the ripple effect, it creates that economic impact across board. And when we looked at that of Nigeria, the capacity of adding between 150 to 180 billion US dollars annually, creating over between 1.5 to 2 million jobs annually, is there.
Where was this data? I'm so sorry I want to follow up on this issue of value chain. Are there ethno-socioeconomic factors that are delaying the understanding of this value chain you're describing? Because people have been doing this for hundreds of years and in a certain way. What are the factors that are causing this not to be understood in the Nigerian family?
In Nigeria?
Yes.
Okay, see, we are a very much fractionalized society.
Sadly.
Yeah, right? Our fractionalization is built along ethno-linguistics and religious divides, right? We don't trust each other.
Nope.
Even the Bible says it that a house divided among itself cannot stand. And we have so much potential, right, that if we unite for Christ's sake, if we come together to say, let us harness our strength, the whole of Africa will stand still.
Absolutely.
And we will be a nation to reckon with. But because we don't trust each other, the man next door, the man in the north does not trust the easterner does not trust the man in the north, the northerner does not trust the southwest is complaining about the south. So it becomes a situation whereby most of the advantages before us are being lost.
Right, go ahead.
So I'm very passionate about the agric industry, falls within my real estate industry, and I would say that we haven't, there's a value chain that we haven't maximized on ground. So I'm feeling like, okay, I'm hearing this about the ranching value chain, but we have the poultry value chain.
It's
that we didn't even, we haven't, to a large extent, this last year there was a major, and it happens year on year. Like the hay you said was a value chain. The maize is a value chain for poultry, but the value chain of maize feeding the chicken, we haven't been able to meet it. We are importing. That's something that we have abundance of land to produce. So it still brings me back to the government's part in saying, what's the framework of how we can maximize the value chain? So we have, if we go into ranching, one would have to import the species. Let's even say we want the best species, we import them. Then we might be importing food as well, which means that what's the value chain if we're importing everything we need to create the ranching industry?
There are 4 things that drive industrialization. One is innovation, right? You innovate, right? The second one is government policy. The third one is availability of resource demand. And the fourth is industrial infrastructures. You understand? Now, when you innovate, the next thing the government is supposed to do, there are opportunities in it, bring out policies that quickly will support what products you are bringing into the market. You understand? Now, this value chain system, as you said, even in the poultry industry, it's not only in the poultry industry. The maize you're talking about, right? If you go abroad, you see hay fields everywhere, right? At first, you know, when I used to see those hay fields and I see the corn being planted so close to each other, I question myself, like, how are these corn going to mature? They're too close, right? Then later, you drive by the same place, they're not harvesting the corn. Yes, and then it goes dry. The next thing is you see the bales, the hay bales. So they are all planted just for, and that's because they have that only 5 to 6 months to plant. But the interesting thing you see is that those things are also equally exported. It is not just for their local consumption only. There are a lot of countries. So if we develop a ranching industry in Nigeria, right, we stand a chance of not only attending to the local industry, we have the capacity to also export our product.
Right, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll go back to the ethno-religious differences. For me, because I believe that most of these policies, these ideas are not, you know, we are very much aware of them. We understand their benefits and how it will help us. But I do feel that because of how factionalized, as you said, we are, we would never get to enjoy the benefits of whatever good policies or good ideas that economists have. So I think what our country would need, as an economist, would be ideas of how to better communicate to our different ethnic groups and our different religious groups, because for some reason, even though there is what should bring us together, is what divides us across regions. So the RUGA, and then the NLTP, when you look at them together, it's like the same thing. They are almost asking for the same thing, almost proposing the same thing. But you cannot call RUGA in some areas. You cannot even say that word RUGA in some areas. And you cannot, and using NLTP in some areas is like you're inciting something else. Right. So it's not really about the policies, but how do we get Nigerians to understand that you know, the benefits of these policies.
Now, can let me add to what Mariam is saying, because we've been talking about the issue of deregulation. The truth is that we're having these conversations because some people are saying, I don't understand certain cultures, certain way of lives. And we're saying, oh, you're an economist. These are the benefits. And people are saying, sorry, I don't get it. It's not part of who I am. That's what we've done for the past 100 years. My question, therefore, to you is, to add to what Mariam was just saying, is it possible that the solution to this problem is where every region decide on how they want to handle this, so that somebody else can even see the economic benefits going forward? Because if we, let's not force the hand of another group to adopt these ideas, these value chain concepts. Why don't we just do it the way you are saying it in certain regions and still see the benefits of it? Maybe that can begin to implement in other regions.
So, if you watch the video I put online, right, about this whole issue, I actually analyzed Nigeria's weather and that of Egypt. Now, cattle come down from the north, right, to graze. But if we develop the ranching industry and develop the value chains, hay is part of the value chain. Why I compared Nigeria to Egypt was because even in Egypt, their minimal rainfall, or sorry, the maximum rainfall they have is less than that of the north. And yet, they still grow hay, not only for local consumption, but also from export. Of the 19 countries that hold about 92% of the total export of hay in the world, Egypt is one of them. There are only 3 African countries: Sudan, South Africa, and Egypt. And Egypt holds, I think, maybe 0.92% or so of the total hay exported in the world. So ranching in the north is not impossible. Let me tell you again, you see, even in the dry seasons in Nigeria, if you plant with proper irrigation, you can harvest bountifully.
100%.
It's not about they must come down south, or the cattle in the east must come down west, or the cattle in the west must go down east. No. Every state can actually accommodate their ranching and develop the hay industry. And you find out that at the end of the day, they will not only, as I said earlier, they will not only cater for the local market, but we have the potential to also export and bring in forex.
We see the benefit.
Just add something. So just to elaborate a bit, so we have, in talking about ranching and herders and farmers, we have some states in the southeast that are saying we would not allow this in our state. We have no land to give towards this. And then we have some states that are saying it's okay, we have started. And then we also had a situation where people that bring cattle from the north to the south to sell, they had a situation where they were held up for so long, it affected their business. Their businesses that during the NSAS were destroyed. And it almost became like it was a north problem. You and your cow problem, it's your problem. But we all eat meat. We're all part of this business. So already for me, it's the division there that affects the ranching or the benefits much more than the policy itself or the ideas themselves. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I get you.
Yes.
Okay. We need to look beyond, as we said, the religious divisions between us, right? We are looking at a $4.12 trillion naira economy that is not developed. Now, we are talking 27% unemployment. We're talking diversification. Already as we speak, the economy is in a reactive state, of which, if we do not diversify, in another 5-10 years, we are going to be in a serious crisis situation. There's a disruptive technology that is going to make petroleum obsolete the way coal went. And we are still focused on crude oil. So if we develop that industry, we are going to be able to diversify the economy to at least a certain extent.
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation with you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Go ahead, okay.
So for me, my own, I think one of the biggest challenges we have when it comes to seeing the financial benefit of this as a business, we're seeing it as a culture. And I think that's the biggest problem. Whenever we think of ranching or cattle rearing, we see it as a culture of some people. For me and my friends and partners at Onera, it's a business. We have cattle. We are not northerners. We are not from, do you understand? This is not our culture. For us, ranching has to become a business. The southeastern people, how do we communicate to them that ranching is a business? That allowing a ranch in your state is going to provide A, B, C, D value chain employment for your people. It is not that you are allowing northerners settle in your community, but you're providing a business opportunity for ranching in your state. Is it that the NLTP and Ruga did not break that down, or we're not just not studying it to understand the business angle of ranching?
Okay, I think one of the major things that government needs to do, right? As I said earlier, we are not a number society. If you see the numbers and people know what they stand to benefit and what it will create, right? They start to think differently. Everybody is being driven by sentiments. Oh, they want to bring this thing. But until you see the economic benefit, right? They say if you want to get someone to do something, appeal to their self-interest. Don't appeal to their conscience. If I want you to do something now, and I come to you and what you stand to benefit from it, you will take actions. You understand? So if we use that strategy, this is going to bring this X amount of GDP to your state. It's going to create this amount of jobs. It is not that it is the northerners that are coming, because that's where the distrust is. That the northerners, even if the northerners come, for Christ's sake, we are all one Nigeria, right? And we can as well regulate whatever we need to do. It is not that they are coming to take over your land.
Let me go back to what I was trying to say earlier, because I feel strongly that this communication have probably happened.
Sorry?
I mean, this communication to various sectors and stakeholders in the agri industry have probably happened at different levels. But there is that strong cultural and ethno linguistic issues and factors and religious factors that has been causing a problem and making it difficult for people to assimilate the benefits. So my question therefore to you, sir, is, do you think, let me go back to what I was trying to say earlier, we see the benefits in certain areas. Can we have a prototype of this happen in certain places where we are selling this to a certain region, maybe the middle, the north central, for example? Provide a land, provide a ranch, and we begin to see this value chain develop. When others see the benefits, there could be that ripple effect. But it is difficult to sell that collective benefits across the country, because there's still that difference that people still, there's a mistrust, there's a distrust, and we believe that you're not working on interest.
You're very correct. I heard the Ekiti state government, right, is doing something with Promasado or something, right? Good. Now, even just the dairy industry alone, the U.S. dairy industry is bigger than the whole Nigeria's GDP. The dairy industry in the U.S. alone, through its economic impact, as in 2019 or 2020, added $628 billion to the economy. That is bigger than and employs 3 million people, pays out $159 billion in wages. Now, one of the things that, we're still importing milk with over 27 million cattle. It's a disaster. Now, one of the things that also needs to be addressed, see, cattle feeding is expensive. Now, to grow hay, yes, to buy and feed your cattle, a cattle eats an average of 40 pounds. That's 18.1 kg of hay daily. So to feed a cow till it becomes full-grown cattle and blah, 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 it's going to cost you X amount of money. And I also feel that that's what these people who own cattle are running away from. So, do you understand? They are feeding their cattle free at the expense of the society.
Right.
And going into people's farms, destroying the farms and getting those hay and yams and whatever they eat there free. And then the cattle now matures and they sell, right? So they have this very minimal cost to raise the cattle. For Christ's sake, do you understand?
That's the beauty.
Yes,
That's
that is part of the challenge. To raise a cattle, if you look at, if you go abroad to raise a cattle, I've forgotten how much they said before it grows into, it's actually, but the good thing is this, you create industries. Apart from that, you put the cost of that hay into the meat, into the beef you're selling. You understand? If, for instance, okay, there are more hay down south, we consume most of the meat down south, right? We supply them hay up north. They impute the cost of the hay into the cattle, bring it back down south, and we buy.
So it's like what happens with chicken. So as I said, that there's a major similarity between the poultry industry and the ranching of cattle. But the challenge is, with the beauty of poultry was there wasn't a full-fledged industry of poultry raising hens commercially that needs to be changed. But we have a culture of people who have already lived their entire lives, generation to generation. The cattle rearer in our farm is a third-generation cattle rearer. His grandfather was in Kwara. He moved to Bomosho. So he doesn't understand the idea of buying hay. He doesn't understand that he would rather spend the entire, like 6 months traveling down south and coming back to Bomosho. That's the way it's been brought up. He doesn't get the fact that you should keep the cattle in one place and be buying hay for them. They don't have that calculation of the cost of buying the hay. So the real problem now is to reorientate a generational. Isn't that difficult? It is extremely expensive.
I keep talking about education.
That's the biggest problem.
See, when you think education is expensive, we are all suffering the consequences of ignorance. Let me tell you, see, I put this thing on my Facebook and put it on one group, the video I made, and some guy started saying, you know, the Southwest should start importing beef to compete with the North. I said, what utter rubbish. You understand? That he said the Brazilian beef was better, the northern cow, they looked so malnourished and blah, blah. So I now said, okay, this guy does not even understand why these cows look so lean. Now, you walk a cow from Maiduguri or Sokoto, you walk that cow to Lagos every year, and you walk the cow back. What meat will be left on the body of the cow?
I have a call from Edo. Let me take this call. Good morning, are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
You're live.
From Edo State.
You're live.
Yes, I want to understand the history of ranching and the policies surrounding ranching and the Ruga project and all that.
Yes, go ahead.
Your guest in the studio listed 4 items that support driver and economy, innovation, what it did after that. I am a farmer and I worked in the north before returning back to Edo State. There are 2 issues why a lot of persons are not accepting this Ruga thing. Number 1, the integrity of the policy investment. Number 2, the antecedent of those people that the insincerity of the policy makers. The people who promote this national sector transformation, whatever. And the fact that supporting agriculture changes at will and are not regular is one of the reasons why people are expecting it. Number 2,
I can't hear you very well, Emmanuel. It's so difficult to hear what you're saying.
To tweet it.
But we try to tweet it so we can hear. Go ahead.
Okay, so, you know, I can never have any conversation about meat and not talk about organic and GMO and things like that. And some of the conversations we hear is that beef from abroad is genetically modified and not healthy for you in the long run. And so the subsistence way in which we are raising our cattle here is more beneficial and it's healthier for all of us. So on that note, would it be wise to ranch them? Does ranching mean that, would that take away from them being healthy? Would that automatically mean that to keep them, to make money from it, you have to genetically modify so that they make more milk or more meat at the expense of a healthy beef at the end of the day?
I think there are 2 different things, right? the ones abroad, when you're talking about hay, it depends on what you feed them with, right? Or if you're talking about
injections.
Yeah, exactly. Now, part of what they give them, which I haven't really researched on, right? But I know that by law, you don't just ranch in developed countries. The veterinary industry is very well involved, right? Because of certain diseases, and then they have to be certified that the meat is okay for the society to consume. Now, but when you look at the hay they consume, right, you see why those their cows, the cow and cattle are very fat? Do you know why?
No, that's not.
Good. They are ranched. They don't move.
I didn't know genetically that way.
No, they don't move. Look, see, the way you put on weight is all about input and output. If you eat more than you burn, you will put on weight. If you burn more than you eat or you need, you will lose weight. Do you understand? Now, you know what? Let them just ranch the cattle in Nigeria. Feed them for 1 year without moving.
That's why we need a prototype done. We
Sorry?
need something done.
Yes,
Let me take
and you
this
see how they will put on weight. And the good thing, sorry please, the good thing is that they will even sell for more. You know why? Because they will look bigger and they will weigh bigger.
Yeah, let me take this call from Cornelius. Cornelius, are you there? Hello, are you there?
Hello.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Mariah. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, I'm calling from Yola.
Yes, Aminu. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah. You see, people are talking about ranching. People are talking. Hello?
Yes, very clearly. We can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, people are talking about ranching, cattle upgrade, and all whatnot. We should all understand there are traditions. The traditions varies from one community to another. The communities in Adamawa State, who 80% of cattle production in Adamawa State are people that don't migrate. They are people that are settled with their own lands, with their own cattle. Okay. They go grazing in the morning, they come back in the evening, in their own communities, at their comfort. Their children go to school. What they need is capacity building. Change their mode of thinking to grow animal feed, whatever name you call it, whether it is hay, whether it is grass, whether it is maize, whatever. Let that capacity building be taken up. Number one. Number two, those migrant herdsmen that migrate from whatever part of the country to another part should copy from those that are already established. Because cattle business is a business that is more than 5 trillion naira in Nigeria. In Adamawa State, the cattle market in 1 week sells cows that is over 8 billion to 10 billion naira weekly. You can't tell me that Adamawa State is generating 10 billion naira from the Federation account. Certainly it is not. 37% GDP of Adamawa State is from animal husbandry. The value chain, the transportation, the market, the abattoirs, and those that transport the cattle down south. So it's a business that we need.
Aminu, let me stay with you for a moment, because one reason why we have Mr. Roman here is to get more knowledge. So when you say capacity building, do you think there are windows of opportunities where we can develop the business as it is right now in Adamawa State as concerning ranching? What are the loopholes? What are those gaps that you think, based on what he has talked about, the value chain, that we can begin to look at in Adamawa to even make it bigger so that other states can see and learn and maybe then replicate across board?
Yeah. Yeah, Morayo, one thing is certain. One thing is certain. We must understand, like any other business, cattle is another chain of business. We must divert emotions and sentiments and egos and prides and look at it as business, as Nigerian business. It is not only tagged to a Fulani person or a Yoruba person or whoever, or a Kanuri man. Let us look at it in the point of business. Let us just agree that there is a window of opportunity of over 5 trillion naira business that is virgin. Let's pick it up. Let's work on it. Let's divert emotions and sentiments and hatred.
Thank you very much, Amino. Let me let you respond to...
you know, I totally agree with what he has said, 100%. But the only part which I have reservation for is that where he said the cattle herdsmen take their cattle out in the morning and they graze in their community and bring it back, right? It's still free grazing. You understand? They are not paying. And if you look at it, it's not only their farms they might end up at. They may go to other people's farms too and devour their crops. Do you understand? But how do you now benefit? How do you benefit from that value chain without creating that system in the first place? It's not possible. Now, if those cattle, for instance, you take them out, right? How do you want to now tap into the ones that are supposed to be the milk-generating ones? You're supposed to keep them in a place, develop some kind of system, right, where they milk the cows in the morning, you supply the dairy industry, you know, blah, blah, blah. They do whatever they want to do. Those cows are not supposed to be going, you know, like taken out in the morning. They could also what? Catch one disease or the other. So if you want to actually benefit and tap into the value chain, you must follow the rules and regulations.
Okay, so I want to go back to where Mariam went to. See, when it comes to me, I'm into this poultry matter partially. In this poultry, they are genetically modified. You know, you have a chicken and the chicken becomes mature in 6 weeks. That's not normal. That's genetically modified to produce broilers. It is fed. The chicken is fed for meat and created to produce at that rate. Many of the cattle that are ranched in developed countries are also like that, created for a 9-month period, which we've been studied, that in 9 months period, a calf would grow to maturity and ready for slaughter. The average Nigerian cattle takes 2 years from being a calf to be ready for slaughter. And that period, the cost of feeding is very high, which is why they do the free grazing. So now, this our new Ruga system and NLTP is going to be costing every cattle rearing person a whole lot of money to migrate into this system. And that's why they're asking the government to provide us framework and fund it. Why some other states are saying, we don't have the money for this, we don't have the land for this, we're not going to do this. It's a private business, and private people are earning from it. So from the economical point of view, what would you advise the government to how would you advise them to fund this system? Because we know we provide subventions for power, for other companies. So how can we fund them?
I itemize 4 critical success factors for industrialization earlier.
I'll let you mention those critical success factors. Let me take this call from the UK. Onochi, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Go ahead, you're live, please.
Yeah, hi. Good morning to everyone. I just want to make a quick contribution.
Yes.
Basically, I think it's quite straightforward from what the gentleman here in the studio is saying. I think states in Nigeria should do a trial whereby they allocate big acres of land for local farmers to harness and cut the grasses and export it straight to the north. But if we have the railway system whereby transportation of hay from the south to the north will be very straightforward, because I think the problem we have in Nigeria is logistic, whereby the police will never make it let you travel with hay and not take your profit before it gets to the destination. So I think having a train logistic.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Onochi. You're going to talk about the 4 critical success factors you mentioned.
I wanted to respond to what she said. Innovation, government policy, availability of resource demand, and then industrial infrastructure. You see, the availability of resource demand comes, you have three resource demands: financial resources, human resources, and natural resources, right? So here, what we are basically talking about is the financial and natural resources. Now, we have the capacity to provide the natural resources if we grow hay. What she's saying or asking is the financial resources. And government has a responsibility. It's a private business. But if you go to the Western world, how they got industrialized, right? You find that our government put things in place, either through taxation or through getting loans that may be interest-free for a period or at minimal cost, you understand, just to help that industry pick up. And I think that is what government should do here. Look at that resource demand. If it's the money, okay, fine. We can provide loans to you people, repayable maybe after 10, 15, or 20 years at 1 or 2% or 3%. But something has to give. Because at the rate at which we're going, this thing might end up becoming another oil that we did not manage very well. At the end of the day, what is supposed to be a blessing became a curse.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting that you made that point, because the argument has also been that this is a private business. And some of the ideas that government has proposed in helping to start up this ranching has been looked at as well. It's a private business. Why is government getting involved? But, you know, our caller made a point about logistics. And I also wonder, why do we have to wait until cattle is put in trucks and containers and whatever, and move miles and miles to the south to be sold as, you know, as meat? Where is what would be better, given your analysis and your study, what would be better economically concerning logistics for cattle?
Well, even in developed countries, they move cattle distances.
Cut and frozen.
Yes. Well, yeah, cut and frozen, you're supplying beef. But in some cases, they move live cattle, right? But it's not something that is cast on concrete. If we develop the ranches across the country, this logistics will slow down, will reduce, right? And then the beef industry will pick up. You can slaughter your cow up north, bring the beef down south, right?
People won't eat that.
Yeah, so that was what I was told.
Where people would not eat that.
That was exactly, we did our own research. We wanted to do this same system of cut and freeze because it's expensive. It is like ×3 the cost of moving a live cattle than if you move a frozen cattle. So it made more sense to move a frozen cattle. Yeah. But the culture here in Nigeria, what we've been told is that economically, Nigerians will not buy a frozen beef. They rather go to the market where they see fresh beef, and they will say that the frozen beef is not fresh. So there are many issues that we need reorientation to a large extent.
You're right. You're right. It's partly cultural too. You understand? But remember, the Western world did not get to where they are today just by brushing aside policies, right? There were policies that the government said, look, this is how we need to do things so that the society will work. And they had to enforce it. So if that is what will make the society work, it's not what our culture is. It's not what our tradition is. The man that called earlier said, oh, we need to consider tradition, that these people have been doing this for a long time. If tradition is not working for you,
you're great. We have to wrap up, unfortunately, but that's why it's really tough. That's the truth. We have to respect people's culture, traditions. And so that's why those who are ready to
but the culture and tradition is costing you pain.
It's not for you and I to decide. It's not for you and I to discuss. Because people are dying.
So what they're
just read the report.
The cattle should not come to the south.
The reports we're getting that the herders and farmers are still killing each other. So what we're saying is that we need to find other solutions outside issue of culture. I think that's a very sensitive area for Africans, and it's something that we have to set aside.
I guess that's where we are.
Unfortunately, recording deaths every day.
If we decide to hold on to that culture or tradition, to be very honest with you, we will never move an inch in the next 100 years.
That's why we need to deregulate. We need to restructure. That's the word, restructure. So those of you that want to go fast, go. Those of you want to stay here, let's stay here. That's restructure. Anyway, we have to run. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure having you on the show. We have to bring you back. We always love having you. That's all we can take. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.